We're talking about the issue of Shabbat. Going back to the issue of Shabbat.
You know all the Georgian guys.
There is
all the Georgian guys. God bless.
There is an issue regarding Shabbat that a person is not allowed to use hot water that was boiled on Shabbat, that was cooked on Shabbat. So what that means, Rabbi, is like this: that first of all, on Shabbat, obviously we cannot cook water. Right? Cooking is one of the 39 labors that you're not allowed to do on Shabbat. Cooking, it's not allowed to cook on Shabbat, right? You know that.
Even if the light was on already.
It doesn't necessarily mean you cannot warm up on Shabbat, by the way. This is one of the mistakes that people make. You know, in our community, there's a common mistake, which is what? That everybody gets together, the traditional people, usually for Shabbat meal at night, right? And, you know, the family gets together and everything, whatever. And at night, they have a nice hot meal, but in the morning, when they come after shul, they have like a cold meal, you know, like no hot food. So that's really a mistake. Why is that a mistake? Because every meal on Shabbat you have to have hot food. The rabbis made a gezerah like that. They made a takana. So therefore, even in the morning meal, there has to be something hot there, you know. So therefore, you have to have a way to heat up the food on Shabbat. That's for sure. But that's fine. There are ways to do that, and we discussed it. We can discuss it more. But we're talking here about something which you're not allowed to do on Shabbat, which is cooking. Right? That's something else. Cooking is not allowed. So what's the difference between warming and cooking? Warming means that you're warming up something which was cooked already before Shabbat. That's allowed to do. Once it was cooked fully, then you're allowed to. But once something was not cooked fully yet, so if you cook it on Shabbat, right, the person is desecrating Shabbat, right? It's a very big punishment for that, right? So therefore, a person has to be careful about hot water as well. What does that mean? That you open up the tap, right? All you do is just open the tap, and you got instant hot water.
Hot water? So
a person may think, the innocent Jew, that what? That I'm just opening up the tap. I'm not doing anything. I'm not cooking anything. I'm not doing anything. So you might think, what's the problem to open up the tap? I just open it up, and I get some hot water. I just wash my dishes. I wash my face. I do a little bit this, a little bit that, whatever. My hands, and whatever you need to do with hot water, right? So the question is, are we allowed to use the hot water tap on Shabbat? That's what we're going to discuss tonight, right? What's allowed, what's not allowed. The truth is, right, by most religious people, you should know, if you go to most religious families, they will not open the hot water on tap on Shabbat. That's the custom amongst most religious families.
Why, is that a labor?
Why? So that's the question. What labor is there, right? What am I doing by opening a tap? Is there labor there? What kind of labor is that, right?
Causing the boiler to warm up.
No, it's like the sparks.
This is like lazy labor, doing nothing basically and getting hot water for free, right?
Liberal rabbi. Go ahead.
So the question is, why is it that the custom is not to use hot water on Shabbat? Why? What are they afraid of? I'm not cooking the water. The water is being cooked by itself. It's automatic. There's a thermostat there. There's a boiler. It's working all the time. I'm not touching that.
Are you supposed to turn your boiler off?
That's the whole thing. That's also a question.
It's going to be on all the time.
Right, exactly. The building is on all the time. So the question is, what am I doing? I'm not doing nothing. All I'm doing is opening up the tap. It's coming in nice hot water for me. I can use it for this reason, for that reason, for all kinds of reasons. That's fine. Should be fine, right? But most people don't do it. So the question is, why? What's the reason why most religious Jews don't use hot water on Shabbat? So the answer is like this, right? You have to understand how the boiler works. Okay. There's a certain mechanism there, right? So first of all, as we said, it works automatically, so that's not a problem. We're not doing anything to turn it on or turn it off. It's going by itself. There's a thermostat, exactly. There's a timer.
Been on before.
Right. So then what's the problem? The problem is like this, right? That in the boiler, there's an inlet and there's an outlet for water, for tap water, right? So there's one pipe that comes in, one pipe that goes out of the boiler, right? And the boiler itself is cooking the water inside there, in that tank, right? Whatever. Right. So what happens is like this, right? Now the boiler is keeping the water hot somewhat. Let's say, I don't know, you set it on, let's say 120, right? Whatever, some kind of temperature. Yes. So now the thing is like this: when that cold water comes in, when you open the tap, you need pressure in order to get the hot water to you. Right. You need water pressure. If there's no pressure, it won't come.
It's kind of like electricity.
Right? Yeah. So by the way, where does the pressure come from? There's a pump that they have at the water company. That pump is what pumps. Yeah, it pumps, right, exactly. They're pumping. And because of that, you can open the tap and get your pressure, because otherwise you're not going to get any hot water. So there is an automatic pump also that's being run by the city, whatever it is, whatever company is doing that. Mm-hmm. Every place is different. It's a different story. So the point is now, what's going on? When I open my tap, in order to get that pressure, cold water has to come into the boiler and push out the hot water. Otherwise, it won't come. That's the way it works. You know what I mean? So what does that mean? Once the cold water comes in to the tank, what happens there?
It's hot.
The water gets cooked, basically. That's what happens. You understand? This is the problem that
Because there's a
people.
flame under there.
Right, actually, right. There's all kinds of things.
It could be a
Right,
coil.
heating elements, all kinds of things. Whatever. Yeah, there's all kinds of issues. But the point is that we're not talking about that. We're talking about the water itself. The hot water, because it's so hot, is able to cook the water that comes in. What does that mean? By according to halacha, what does it mean that something is being cooked? If it goes to the temperature of about 45 degrees centigrade, right? That's called already cooking according to halacha. You know, because something you can cook something like which is light to cook in that temperature, like an egg or whatever, or something light cooking. You know, 45 degrees centigrade, even though it's not even close to boiling yet, but that's considered to be cooking already. So therefore, what we have to do is like this, right? That when the water comes into the tank, that water gets cooked. It's going to go above 45 degrees centigrade, and therefore you just now desecrated Shabbat. Apparently, that's what happens, right? By you opening the tap, because you're making that cold water come in there and get cooked. So you're not allowed to cook on Shabbat. That's the whole thing. This is the reason why people don't do it.
No refills.
No refills, right? So the question is there really a solution to this, or is this really like something ironclad that they do, or whatever? So in order to understand if there's a solution to this problem, you have to understand the mechanism first of all, as we said, right? The mechanism we start to understand. So now try to understand a little bit better. So what happens is like this, right? That there are, by the way, solutions to this problem. Just offhand. One solution would be if you would set the boiler, right, on a lower temperature, let's say, right? Less than 45 centigrade. Let's say you set it on, let's say, 39, I don't know, for argument's sake, right? 39 is like lukewarm water. It's like pretty warm, It's pretty warm. You can enjoy that a little bit, you can wash your face, whatever. You can do all kinds of things like that. So if you set it on 39, let's say, for argument's sake, and then you could use it on Shabbat, really. That's not really a problem. And that would be like one solution, Set the temperature at a low temperature, it's still pretty warm, but not 45. So then it would be allowed. Yes.
I have a boiler at home, private house.
Yes.
You told me I can set it to like 39.
Yeah, up to 40. Up to 40, right? That will be fine. Yes, that will be no problem, because then the cold water that comes in is not going to get cooked, right? Because it's in itself is not cooking. So how is it going to cook something else, right?
So you're saying on Shabbat you're not allowed to bathe yourself.
That's a different question. That's also very important to discussion, right? Which is what are you allowed to bathe on Shabbat? It's these two things are related to each other. They're very they're running the same line. So the answer is like this, right? That the halacha says a person is allowed to bathe with cold water on Shabbat for sure. There's no question about that.
Is allowed?
Yeah, it's allowed. Yeah, you're allowed.
Cold water.
So what does that mean? If I open a shower, right, and it's all just cold water, for sure that's not a problem. There are, by the way, some Ashkenazim don't do that. The Ashkenazim, even with cold water, they don't bathe. They have a custom like this, They go a little bit above. Huh?
With soap or without soap?
That's also a question. We're getting to all good questions over here. But I'm talking about even without the soap, right? Before we get to the issue of the soap, the bathing itself, right? If you use a cold shower, no problem on Shabbat.
I'm sorry.
But the Ashkenazim they have a custom not to do that too.
The cold shower, we don't
Yeah.
know what percentage of heat is being applied. The reason why, because the cold, if you look at the tap,
Yeah.
it depends on how far you go.
Right, but I'm saying you're only opening the cold water tap. That's it. Now the hot water is not being opened at all.
Is there a problem
Yeah.
with the use of soap?
Yeah, this is exactly what he asked about. Right? I want to talk about that too. Yeah, it's good. If you guys are asking about soap, so what's the halacha with soap? The halacha is that here also the Ashkenazim don't use solid soap on Shabbat.
Liquid.
Right, they use only liquid soap, exactly. What's the reason why? Because they say, right, that when you're using the soap and it's making the suds, so you're making something new on Shabbat, like it's called molid, like something new is being created over here. So therefore, rabbinically speaking, they hold the Ashkenazim that you're not allowed to do this. The Ashkenazim don't use solid soap; they only use liquid soap.
But it's still making bubbles if you use liquid.
Right, bubbles is okay because it was already what it was. In other words, it was already liquid, and now it still stayed liquid. So nothing has really changed.
Okay.
No whatever it was, that's what it is now. But when you're sending a solid and turning it into a liquid, the suds, so there's an issue with the Ashkenazim. But the Sephardim, most of the Sephardi poskim are not medaktik about this. They're not makpid. So therefore, if you go according to Sephardi customs, maybe we can convert you if you want. If you're interested. We have a mikvah downstairs. Okay, so anyway, the point is, right? What do you think about it? We charge for that though. It's a little charge. Nominal charge. Nominal charge.
Shower? On Shabbos?
So anyway, okay. So Rabbi, as we said, right, that the Sephardim are not medaktik. So therefore, a Sephardi guy who wants to take a cold shower and use also a nice bar of soap, No problem with that. Also, shampoo would be allowed, by the way. No problem. No problem. Shampoo not allowed. People always ask me, yeah, but Rabbi, you told me you're allowed to take a shower on Shabbat, but what about, using the towel? Maybe there's a problem with that. Why? Because you're drying off, and then, maybe the water will get squeezed out of it, whatever, all kinds of things like this. Maybe squeezing out. So when people ask me this question, you know what I tell them, right? Believe me, nobody in his right mind uses a towel this way, right? Just wring out the towel like this, squeeze out the water from there. So therefore, there's really no problem with the towel at all, right? These big bath towels that we have, Baruch Hashem, they have lots of space in there. You can, probably like the whole family could use that one towel for the whole family, and it still wouldn't come out the water. So I don't think that's really, an issue at all, right? There's no issue whatsoever with that. If you use a towel in a normal way, which is what, like this and this, there's not no water is going to get really squeezed out of there. There's not going to be such a thing like that. So therefore, for sure, right, there's no issue with the towels. It's all from the imagination. There's all this kind of stuff. There's no issue with the towels at all whatsoever. So therefore, Rabbatai, the soap is as I said, for the Sephardim it's allowed. For the Ashkenazim, you can use liquid soap. Buy some ivory, whatever, stuff, whatever. And that's it.
Why can't you shower with warm water?
Okay, so now let's get to the warm water, right? Yes.
Thermostat. And that's it.
So here, right, what happened was like this: that on Shabbat, bathing with warm water in general is not allowed. What's the reason why? Or hot water, same thing, right? Warm, hot, whatever, it's all the same. What's the reason why it's not allowed? The reason why it's not allowed is because there was a situation where people were doing this at a certain time in history, in Jewish history, and the rabbis saw that people were cheating. What does that mean? That they were saying, we warmed up this water before Shabbat and now we're using it, but really they were warming up the water on Shabbat itself. They were making a fire, and warming up the water on Shabbat itself. So therefore they said, hey, wait a second, what's going on over here, right? People are breaking Shabbat, so they made a takana, they made a gzera, they made an enactment, they made a decree that there should be no warm or hot showers on Shabbat because of this reason, or bathing, whatever, bath. Because of this reason, the people are cheating and also heating up the water as well. On Shabbat, which is definitely a big problem because you're starting a fire, right? You're heating up water. All these things, right, are not allowed. So, is there a solution for these things, right? We're going to try to find a solution for everything because that's what we're here for. That's our business, yeah. That's what Jimmy said, right? That's our business. Jimmy wants me to make phone calls, but I prefer doing this stuff. Okay. God bless you. This is my forte. This is my forte, right? Okay. Joking. So anyway, Rotai. Is there a solution for all these things? So the truth is that I like to be a very generous person, very giving person. So I'm going to give you a solution for everything because I want to take care of you. Make sure you're well taken care of. But you didn't come here. You didn't come here just to get like a sour face. Go back. Go home and go. Get out of my face. I don't want to do that. Right? I'll give you everything good. So we can do it. By the way, we can do it according to halacha. Everything according to halacha, according to Jewish law. Everything glak kosher. Everything everything good. So what's the solution to all these things? The solution is like this, right? Number one, that as we said, regarding the hot water tap. This is very convenient, by the way, to do hot water. You want to wash dishes, who wants to wash dishes with cold water? Stains don't come off, it doesn't dissolve good. It's a very big problem, So what can we do to remedy this problem? So the answer is, I will tell like this. As we said, one thing is to make the thermostat low. But that's not a solution for everybody. Why? Because some people forget these things. They don't remember to do that. Who's going to go down to his boiler room and lower the temperature? Maybe he'll forget, whatever. He's having too many problems with his wife arguing before Shabbat, They like to argue before Shabbat. They like to, So they don't think about these things. Whatever, So therefore, what's a better solution? The better solution is like this, right? That we have to understand how to theoretically to find a solution here, which is what? It's brought down, by the way, in the book of Moran Rabbeinu Maran, Alav Shalom, our rabbi. He brings a very nice solution for this. The solution is like this, right? As follows. I'm talking only theoretically because we're all doing the same thing. There's no some kind of change in your behavior. No. It's a theoretical solution. Theoretically, the solution is like this, right? When you open up the hot water tap, right? So are you really pushing the water yourself? As we said, right? You're not pumping the water.
No, it's a pump.
So what are you really doing there? You're just opening a path for it to go.
That's correct.
You understand? It's like somebody, who has running a garage, So the guy who parked over there needs to get out of the garage, right? So you just open the door for him, You press the button, the door goes up. And so he can drive out. But who drove out? You or him? No, he's driving out. You're just opening up the path. So there are several poskim that the rabbi brings down. One of them is Khatam Sofer, and also others that says what? That when you're just opening up the path for something to go, right, and you yourself are not pushing the water, You're not doing the actual labor. So therefore, this is called grama. This is called indirect causation.
But electricity is the same way as pressure too.
You're so right. You're so right. You know why do I say that? Because the rabbi uses this also for electricity as well. There's also a certain solution over there as well for that. You got the idea very well. You caught it. So the point is, Rabbatai, that if a person really thinks about it, he's not doing any labor when he opens up the tap. It's going by itself. Right. So therefore, I'm not doing any labor. According to these poskim, I'm not doing anything. All I'm doing is opening up the path. And since this is called grama indirect causation, the Gemara says, Melacha hi asura, the grama muteret, right? What does that mean? The labor is forbidden, but the indirect causation is allowed.
And
that's what it says.
By the sun.
We're going to talk about that too. Yeah, that's a very good question. Yes, in Israel, that's it.
They have the heater, the
yes.
sun heats up the bag, the water's warm and you can shower.
Yes, remind me to discuss this because I want to talk about this too. So Rabbi, the way it works is like this. That since, now, but the problem is like this, right? That this is very nice, all this is very nice. But the problem is that not all the rabbis agree with this thing. What does that mean? Not all the rabbis say that a scenario like this is called indirect causation. This brought down on several rabbis. But since now this is a prohibition of Shabbat, which is considered to be something like very major, Shabbat is like a major prohibition, so therefore, some people will tell you, you know what, how am I going to rely on one or two rabbis who are saying this? Well, all the other rabbis didn't say that. Maybe I should be stringent and not rely on this, because maybe, you know what, maybe there's this idea that they're saying, maybe it's not exactly correct, maybe it's a little bit flawed, their idea. So what's the answer? What's the answer to this question? How do we address this problem? How we address it like this, right? That the truth is, a person has to understand that when he opens up the tap, right, and the water comes in from the cold water comes into the tank, this is not the way of cooking. What does that mean? When a person wants to cook, how does he do it? He takes some hot water, puts it right, exactly. He lights a fire. He puts the thing on top of the fire, right? He does all these things, right? Exactly, whatever. So meaning what? That this way of cooking is not the way of cooking. It's not the normal way of cooking. All I'm doing is opening the tap. Something is coming in there. I'm not even thinking about that. That's not my intention at all. Lo mitkaven, right? So meaning what? It's not the way of cooking like this, because I don't even see what's going on there. I don't care about that. I don't care that it was being cooked. It doesn't have any bearing for me right now. All I care is I'm going to get my hot water from the tap. So therefore, in a case like this, where it's enomit kaben, that's not my intention to do that, to cook like this. All I want is hot water now. I don't care what's going on over there. I could care less. That's one thing. Number two, also, that it's not the way of cooking like that. What does that mean? The way of cooking is to do everything directly. How does a person cook? You know how a person cooks, right? If it's the normal way, that's the normal way. This is not the normal way of cooking. So therefore, because of all these issues, what does that mean? That there is no Torah prohibition anymore when you do this. Why is that? Because Torah requires, in order that something should be prohibited from the Torah, it has to be the normal way, and you have to have intention to do that. You understand? These two things are crucial, but once you don't have these two things, these two elements, or even one of them, by the way, even one of them, it's not considered to be any more prohibition from the Torah. It goes down to a prohibition of the rabbis. It goes down one grade.
So the goy can do it for you.
That's also true, yes. But we're talking about not doing it also yourself. We're talking about not doing it also yourself. Even better, right? Yes.
My hand is a goy.
You know how it's a true Ashkenazi brain.
He's smart. He's a smart guy.
I see it.
Yeah, smart guy. So now, what I'm telling you is like this, right? The truth is that when you have two of these elements, one of them is, it's not my intention to do it, and also it's not the normal way. For any other halacha, for any other law besides Shabbat, you'd be already allowed to do it altogether. Why? Because one reason brings it down to rabbinical, and the second reason brings it down to permitted. That's how it works in halacha. You understand? But over here, because it's Shabbat, it's a little bit more stringent. We're a little bit more careful about Shabbat. You know why? Because Shabbat is like isur karet. If a person, desecrates Shabbat in like a really normal manner and with intention, so he's liable to cutting off. He gets cut off from the Jewish people. It's a very severe thing. So therefore, we're a little bit more stringent. So now, but you see how it helps us? It helps us very, very much though. Why? Because since we have those two reasons, which bring down already the prohibition, one brings it down to rabbinical, the second reason brings it down to permission altogether. But since it's Shabbat, we're a little bit more stringent. But now, because we have this other element as well, which is what? That it's grama, it's indirect causation. as we described, right, how that works. This is because you're just opening up the path. You're not pushing the water. You're not directly doing it yourself. So it's indirect causation. So with all these reasons combined, we have already here 3 reasons. So therefore, this is allowed now. Understand? Why? Because we're not anymore so concerned about the fact that only 2 rabbis permitted this, or 2 or 3 rabbis. Why? Because we also have the other elements as well helping us here. We're combining all these elements. That's how it works in halakha. You combine all these things together, and it comes out to be that it's allowed. So therefore, the bottom line is like this, right? That a person who does this, opens up the hot tap water on Shabbat, he definitely has what to rely on. No problem to do that, really, the truth is. If you want to be machmir, you want to be chassid, you want to be... you want to have those, things. Yeah? Very good. I have nothing against that. God bless you. There is still a little bit to be stringent. If one person wants to do that, but according to the halakha, there really is no stringency over here. Bare bones halakha, it is allowed to open up the hot water tap. If you ask some rabbis, by the way, they will tell you it's not allowed because they don't know all these details. You have to know the details. You have to go into the depths of these things. But Moraine Rabbeinu Rabbi Shalom, before he passed away, by the way, he was racing to do this. What does that mean? What does that mean? He wrote altogether, he wrote 54 books. Can you imagine? Each one of them masterpiece. This was like unbelievable work, and these books are like major works. Major. Revolutionary, big stuff. So what happened was that during the end of his life, he was racing to finish his books. What does that mean? He started to do books on Shabbat, the laws of Shabbat, And he wanted to finish the whole thing from beginning to end, A to Z. So, can you imagine? He was so vehement about this that he wasn't taking people in to get blessings and all these things. He cut down his hours of taking people because he wanted to finish the books. Why? Because he said, if I don't do this, nobody else has the knowledge to do it. There's no other rabbi in the generation who has the knowledge to write a book like this.
If you don't bring the shmaks in, nobody else will.
You understand? So he was so vehement about that. He was sitting, right, and doing this. In the end, by the way, he didn't beat the clock. What does that mean? He didn't finish the whole thing. But nevertheless, he did manage to get 6 volumes out on Shabbat. Can you imagine? Not bad for old men, 93-year-old man. Got 6 volumes. Can you imagine? He did this in like 3-4 years, this whole thing. Unbelievable work, incredible work, work ethic, what I'm going to tell you. Labor ethic, Dedication, yeah, that's it, right? So what happened was like this, right? That he managed to write about this issue, and that's where he gave us this theory to open up the this whole thing, right? To blow it out of the water, basically. Meaning what? That he said that it's allowed to do it. He said black and white. He wrote, right? I think he was probably the first rabbi who publicized this kind of a novel idea. I don't think anybody else wrote this down in black and white paper.
Yeah. Sorry. Yeah. 6 volumes he finished. I don't know how many.
What does that mean?
How many did he plan?
See, there is no plan because it's just a matter of finishing all the material. There's no plan for volumes. It's just whatever comes out, It's like ad hoc, It's like,
According to what you think, stop in the middle?
It could be 6, it could be 60. It depends on how much you write. It's up to you.
So how much
it's your decision.
How much did he accomplish?
He got about maybe 70%. Not too bad. Not too bad for a 93-year-old man. Because the issue of Shabbat is very lengthy. You know how long it takes to learn the laws of Shabbat? And the guys who are sitting in Kolo, it takes about 3 years to do this. To learn all the laws. Can you imagine?
Someone else pick it up?
Huh?
Someone else pick this up?
What does that mean?
Finished his work. Nobody's mind like that.
Nobody can finish that work. There's nobody on that level in our generation.
Everybody's left hanging on the cliff.
So no, the truth is that whatever he gave us also, whatever he gave, you know what we say, on Pesach, right? We say dayenu. It's enough for us. Whatever he gave us is enough. Dayenu. We got also pretty good.
So we are
pretty
allowed
good.
to bathe in warm water with
Regarding bathing, okay?
Not bathing.
Yes.
Shower.
Yes, shower. Yeah, the same.
With liquid soap.
Liquid soap.
So now we said, right?
That's it.
We allowed opening up the tap. We allowed using soap, also even solid soap. We allowed, except for him. Mark has a problem unless he converts. If we convert him, okay, you can do it. Fine. So now toothpaste is a different story. We're gonna get to that toothpaste. Some other time, maybe we'll talk about that. But maybe we'll talk about it now also. If you have time. So the point is, Rabotai, that what we're saying is that soap is allowed, the hot tap is allowed. But now we have the issue of the shower, right? The shower, right? So as we said, right, that there is a prohibition on Shabbat to bathe the whole body or most of the body, the majority of the body, in hot water because of this issue that they were heating up the water, cheating and heating up the water. These guys, these bath guys, right? Bathhouse attendants, they were cheating and starting fires on Shabbat. You know these guys, right? Yeah, okay. So anyway, the point is, right? The basement guys, these guys, Okay, so whatever. So no, I don't mean anybody in particular. So anyway, Rabbi, what we're saying is like this: that now we have a solution for this also. So there is actually a Rambam, which is a bombshell Rambam. A lot of people don't even notice this Rambam, by the way. The Rambam is such a big body of work. Like not everybody knows what's going on there. Every nook and cranny, it's huge. By the way, in the Rambam, if you learn one chapter a day, it takes 3 years to finish it. It's a huge work. Even one chapter a day. Can you imagine? So it's huge. It's giant. It's by the way, it's a wonder how he did this work, how he finished it in one lifetime. You wonder, how he did this. What's a genius like this? Great genius. So, anyway,
and how many days was Moses up on the mountain with the Ten Commandments? How long would that take?
Right, yeah. That's actually a good comparison. You know why? Because Rambam was also Moshe. They say, that they say, right, how great was the Rambam? They say from Moshe until Moshe, there was nobody like Moshe. What does that mean? That the Rambam was like the first one, like Moshe Rabbeinu. All those generations, he was the one like Moshe. Can you imagine such a thing?
Moshe.
That's what they say about him.
I'm Moshe.
Moshe. Okay. Moshe. Okay. So anyway, what does Rambam say? The Rambam says that actually there are 3 purposes that a person can take a shower, hot bath on Shabbat. Even though we said, right, the sages decreed not to do that. Comes the Rambam and says, you know what? Actually, there are 3 reasons you're allowed to do that. So one of them is if it's a child, right? If the child is like underage, when we say underage, not 18, we're talking about 13, right? Bar mitzvah, right? Jewish way, right? Jewish style, kosher style, right? So we're talking about if the child is like 11, 10 years old, 8 years old, whatever it is. So the truth is, right, that they didn't make a decree on the children like that. So you're allowed to bathe them in hot water. As long as you don't heat up the water on Shabbat.
The mother.
The father, whatever, it can be anybody, right? Whatever, the uncle, whoever's turn it is to do it. So that's not the issue, right? So anyway, we're saying that a child is allowed. By the way, why is it that a child is allowed to bathe? What's the reason why? They didn't make a decree on the child. You know why?
Sanitary reasons.
Sanitary reasons? So what, we have to be dirty and they have to be clean?
We have to be clean for Shabbos.
Yeah, God bless. So you know what they say? Because they say, by the way, the reason they allowed it for the children is because for them, bathing is considered to be like a health issue.
Right.
Yeah, I guess so. But what I mean to say is it's like, in other words, if a child doesn't bathe, he's not going to be healthy. You understand? For us, it's not a health issue. It's a cleanliness issue.
For me, it is. Well, it's the same thing.
Yeah? You understand? But for the children, you get sick from that. So therefore, right? Since it's a health issue with the children, they didn't make a decree on the children, the rabbis. They only made it on adults. So this is the reason why you're allowed to bathe the child. That's one thing, right?
Yeah.
But they also
is pleasing the wife, right?
what about the wife?
You can please the wife on Shabbos.
But with hot water? Pour some hot water over her? What do you want to do?
Boil her.
Boil her? Okay.
No, in the tub,
Okay, you're a kicky guy. Okay. So anyway, so whatever. So what I'm telling you is like this, right? That there's also an issue. Rambam says also there's another one who was allowed to do that. They didn't make a decree on him. You know what it is? In Hebrew it's called mitzta'er. Mitzta'er. You know what's mitzta'er? Somebody who's suffering from not bathing.
Disease.
Right. That's a little bit different, Rabbi Gamliel. That's called isnis, right? That's isnis, right? That's a little bit different, but it's similar to that idea.
Like if you have a sore or something, you can wash it.
No, what I mean to say is like this, right? A person is like just simply sweaty, He's just like, he went to play, he ran around a little bit, whatever. He did some things. He's like totally, schwitzing, whatever.
Yeah.
Is that what schwitzing? No, schwitzing. Yeah. So he's schwitzing. So now, right, if he doesn't take a bath, he feels like disgusting, like repulsive. Right. So says the Rambam, you're allowed to also bathe somebody like that. He can bathe himself. He doesn't need to bathe. He doesn't need to bathe him. He's an adult. On Shabbat. It's called mitzta'er. Somebody who has a tzar. Same thing. Same idea. Yes. So Rabbi, but as we said, right, of course, a person has to know there's one condition. The condition is that you have to heat the water before Shabbat, because if you heat it on Shabbat, obviously it's a big problem, right? You're cooking the water on Shabbat that you're not allowed to do. Who allowed you to do that, right? But since now, what in our situation, we have a boiler, like and what you all mentioned also is very important, right? That what in Israel they have the solar things, right? It's called dud shemesh. That's what it's called.
Even they have the pipes are hot and everything. The water.
So now I ask you a question, right? Which one is better for this purpose? Is the solar panel better, which heats the water with the sun, or the boiler which is working on fuel, right? Whatever, So which one is better? So the truth is, right, that the solar panel is better. You know why? Because since it's being heated by the sun, and there's no fire there whatsoever, so therefore this is only a rabbinical problem. There's no issue here of the Torah. The Torah only prohibits heating the water, right, with fire, things like this.
It does create electricity, though. That's the thing.
It creates a lot of things. But what I'm telling you is that there's no fire there, right? So therefore, since there's no fire, so the whole thing of dud shemesh, this solar thing, is only rabbinical. So therefore now we have more leeway to allow. But this now, right, as we said, when it comes to this, our boilers, that's from the Torah. But since we already brought down, right, 3 steps, we said one step is that's not your intention. Number 2, we said also it's not the normal way. And now number 3, we said it's also indirect causation. So because of all these 3 things, this has also come down to be allowed. So therefore now that we're set with that. There's no problem. So therefore, the person is mitzta'er. What does that mean? That he's suffering from right, exactly. He's suffering from sweating or whatever it is, something like, or he's dirty, very dirty, filthy, whatever it is. So a person like that, according to Rambam, is allowed to bathe on Shabbat even with hot water, right? So now, what's the story? The story is like this, right? That the question is that the halakha? Because we don't always, paskin like the Rambam. Not everything the Rambam says is always halakha. But let's say, the percentage, let's say, right? Percentage-wise, we go like the Rambam, let's say the Sephardim like 90%, the Sephardim, or Ashkenazim maybe 80%, I don't know, just round numbers, right? Ashkenazim a little bit less. But the point is, usually the halacha is like the Rambam, but there are cases where it's not. So the question is the halacha like the Rambam here? That a person who's suffering from the sweat or whatever it is allowed to take a hot shower on Shabbat? So the truth is, right, that this is also brought down, this in Rabbi Akiva Eger, right, who's Ashkenazi, a big posek in Ashkenazi, he brings it down also. It's brought down also Lakut Yosef, which is Sephardi posek in our time, the chief rabbi. So all these rabbis do bring this down. So therefore, definitely, nobody really argues with this. In other words, there's nobody who comes and says, "Oh, the Rambam had made a mistake," whatever. There are sometimes, there are rabbis who argue, whatever. So here we don't really find anybody who comes against the Rambam. So therefore, this is the halakha. You understand? So what does that mean? That a person, if he's really suffering, from the sweat or whatever it is, hot summer day, so he does have what to rely on to take a hot shower with the soap, with the shampoo, with everything, all the towel, the bath towel, luxurious towel, everything, the whole thing, right, from A to Z, like a normal shower. You understand? Mm-hmm. So there is what to rely on here. So we do have, all the more so, by the way, we can use the hot water for other things, which, there's no issues, like washing dishes, just washing your face, your hands. There's no prohibition at all regarding these things, to wash these things, By the way, there is actually a prohibition for washing dishes. What does that mean? If you already ate all your meals on Shabbat, you're not going to eat anymore, right? So then they say you're not allowed to wash dishes anymore. Why? Because you don't need to wash them. It's like just your exertion for no reason. Just exerting yourself for no reason. So on Shabbat, you're supposed to be resting, That's the whole idea. So if you already ate all your meals, and there's no more issue now to use dishes for anything or whatever, anything else, there's not going to be any more meals left. So there, you really shouldn't wash the dishes on Shabbat. But if you still need to eat more meals, so then you're allowed to. You still have one more meal left. When it comes to cups, by the way, it's even more lenient. What does that mean? That since people drink all the time, it's not a set thing, You're thirsty, you drink some water, you take some soda, you take this, every time you eat something, you drink something else, you have a beer, or this, whatever. So since people are drinking all day, continuously, non-stop, so therefore, even if there's no meals left, when it comes to cups, drinking utensils, you're allowed to wash them anyway. That's the halakha, on Shabbat. That's the halakha. So regarding what we said about I also want to discuss this issue with the what you said about brushing your teeth, right?
Yeah, toothpaste.
So what is the halakha regarding that? That there are actually many opinions brought down to the poskim whether you're allowed to brush your teeth or not on Shabbat.
Should be able to. Yeah.
So the truth is, right, that there are some who don't allow it altogether to brush your teeth on Shabbat. There are also others who allow it partially. What does that mean? They allow you to brush your teeth, but not to use toothpaste, right? So what does that mean? They'll allow you to do it with some kind of like a liquid thing, like a liquid thing. Uh-huh. They'll allow you to use liquid, but not like a gel. There are also opinions like that. Uh-huh. But the truth is, right, that Morain Rabbeinu Alav Shalom, Maran, he has a tshuva regarding this. He has a long essay about this that he wrote. It's like from ocean to ocean, from the Atlantic Ocean to the Pacific Ocean. Very big, huge genius thing. He goes through all the possibilities. If this is allowed, this is not allowed, all the elements of this whole thing, right? So the conclusion over there, the rabbi concludes that it is allowed to brush your teeth even with toothpaste, So therefore, the custom amongst us, the Sephardim, is that we're lenient regarding that.
With that point, I could.
Good. You're a clean man. That's why I have such a good smile. That's why God bless. Okay. So
not brushing your teeth for a few days, but only washing your mouth out with mouthwash.
Yeah.
I experimented.
Yeah. No. What did you get?
What I got is
Toothache? Toothache? No.
No, it actually keeps your teeth clean.
Really? Is that true?
Yeah. I mean, if you don't brush for 2
Right.
weeks, then
But the plaque stays on, David.
no, it gets rid of the plaque.
It does?
Well, the mouthwash is to get rid of plaque.
Gets rid of all that stuff, that gooks that goes in.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not
Yeah.
saying don't brush your teeth.
Yeah.
This was just an experiment.
Okay.
And I was surprised how how the teeth didn't build up all the goop,
Yes.
all the residue.
That's interesting.
For 3 days, kept everything beautiful.
Okay, very nice. It's an interesting idea. So what we're saying is that basically also to brush your teeth is not a problem. By the way, somebody just texted me a question recently about this.
What's the question?
That he saw in the Yalkut Yosef, one of the contemporary poskim of our generation, the chief rabbi, Yitzchak Yosef. And by the way, this is also another thing that we should do. In order to help the shul, we should invite the chief rabbi when he comes to America to make a big come here, bless us. This is going to be a big thing of Israel.
So good, have them
He's
come
a
here
good friend of
and
mine.
make a speech.
He's a good friend of mine. This is also it's attraction.
Rabbi,
You have to advertise.
Beautiful.
Well, you money now.
Party.
David was here.
Huh?
David was here.
Not David. I'm talking about the chief rabbi. Yeah, that's something else. I've been talking about the chief rabbi. Chief rabbi comes over here. People are gonna flock. That's gonna make a nice.
We're going to make a party for him.
Nice, very nice. Reception, this, that. Yeah.
Party downstairs.
That's it.
Come and get blessed.
So we need to do all these kinds of things, Rabbi. There's all kinds of things like that. Gimmicks, but this is more than a gimmick. It's really actually very good. Right?
He has the
By the way,
capacity to do
two
that.
presidents weren't married. Cleveland and Buchanan. They were not married.
Okay.
Change the law after that.
So, Rabbi,
I learned this.
his question was like this, right? That he saw in Yalkut Yosef something interesting. That even though the Yalkut Yosef says, right, according to what his father wrote, that there was Morain Rabbeinu, Maran. His father was Maran. So he's the son of the Maran. So what he wrote is that even though you're allowed to brush your teeth and use toothpaste, but he says when you finish with it, right, you're not allowed to wash it off, leave it like dirty and just put it like that. That's what he says, right? You're not allowed to wash it off.
The brush itself.
Yeah, right, exactly.
So if you got dentures, you're good.
So the truth is, right, he asked me, is this the halacha or not? That you cannot wash off the toothbrush after it's dirty, or you use it to brush your teeth, you just leave it there without washing it off. So the truth is, I told him, there's also another opinion which does actually allow that, the reason, by the way, they say that you shouldn't do that is because of the exertion, like you don't really need to do that, whatever. But the truth is, it's just a matter of like cleanliness, just it's disgusting when you leave it like that. It's disgusting, right? So because of that,
Cold water you could run.
no, even cold water they don't allow. This is the whole thing, right? According to this opinion, even cold water is not allowed because you're just doing it for no reason. You don't need to do that. But the truth is, right, there is also another sefer called Or Letzion, Racham Ben Zion Bashal. He writes over there that you're allowed to actually wash it off as well. So therefore, right, definitely there's what to rely on. The custom is not to be able to. I don't think anybody's particular about this. So therefore, to wash it off, I don't think it's really a big problem because it's just a matter of cleanliness. Like when you use something to leave it dirty, it's not clean. You feel disgusting. It's like something it's repulsive. So therefore, I don't think it's really a big problem to wash it off. So therefore, I told him, I said, no problem with that. Wash it off. So don't leave it dirty like that. It's not. As we said, right, there's so many opinions regarding this. And by the way, the truth is, why don't they allow to use toothpaste? Some of these opinions, right? Moshe Feinstein, who was one of the big poskim of America, he was the big posek of America. He said you're allowed to brush your teeth, but don't use toothpaste. Right? What's the reason why?
You can use baking powder.
Yeah, something like that. Different thing like that. So the reason he was saying that is because when you rub in the toothpaste into your teeth, it's like smoothing it in, like using a lotion, for whatever. So the same thing applies over there. That it's a prohibition of smoothing a surface. So the truth is that the Moran Rabbi the rabbi, he writes that this is not really the case. Why is that? The reason it's not considered to be smoothing a surface is because everything is being dissolved. Nothing is being left over there. You're just cleaning. It's a cleansing. It's not like you're. You know what smoothing means? The prohibition of smoothing on Shabbat means, like, let's say you take a rough surface, right? And you take You take, let's say, some kind of a gooey kind of substance, like a paint, whatever, and you smooth it over. So there, the actual substance is going into that surface and getting filled in and becoming smooth. But here, all that toothpaste is going into the drain. Nothing is being left over there.
But it is work, though, and you are activating the toothpaste. You realize.
Right, but there's really no activation there. There's really no activation. You're basically dissolving it. It's cleansing. By the way, there is no prohibition to cleanse yourself on Shabbat. To clean something. Let's say your ear's dirty, your nose is dirty. Excuse the expression. There's no prohibition to cleanse anything on Shabbat.
Rabbi, you can do it. Let you do it.
Good question.
I'm just curious.
Good question. You see what he's asking?
Make sure Shalva in Long Island hears this.
So Rabbi, regarding Jimmy's question, this is also related to what we're talking about. What about going to a mikveh? What about going to a hot mikveh, by the way? Because a lot of mikvehs are hot.
Yeah.
Right? You know that. Yeah? This mikveh downstairs is hot.
Never been to.
Yeah. So now the situation is like this.
Is it unisex?
You know what it is, David? It's like separate and equal, separate but equal, right? As we said, right? So men go in there too, by the way. Men go in there, but it has to be separate. That's fine. Men go in there too, but it has to be separate time. Separate time.
Doesn't mean
Separate time. Not
Separate
separate bathtub or separate.
No, separate time. Yeah, that's all. So, Rabbi, the way it works like this with the mikveh.
Let me go first.
Actually, the case of the mikveh is more stringent than the case of the home. In other words, if I take a shower at home, so for there we found a solution for this, right? If you're not feeling so good, you're feeling icky, so then you're allowed to take a hot shower also. If you're not feeling icky, you can take a cold shower. So regarding this though, the mikveh, it's a little bit different. Why? Because this is a public bath. This is not a home bath. So regarding that, the sages made a stronger decree. Why is that? Because the whole problem with heating the water, that the people cheat and heat the water, was going on in the public baths, not in the home. You understand? That's where it was going on. All the cheating. Abano. These kind of places, bathhouses. Nowadays we don't have them so much. But these mikvahs are like a bathhouse, basically. It's a public bathhouse. That's what it is. You understand? So since it's a public bathhouse, the prohibition of going into hot water in a public place is more stringent than going into a private place. So therefore, if you really need to take a hot shower on Shabbat, do it at home. But if you come here, right, so going into a hot mikveh is really more of an issue, right? Because it's a public place. So therefore, the truth is that most Jews, except maybe Hasidim, like some Hasidim are a little bit different, but when it comes to most Jews, Sephardim and Ashkenazim, they don't go into a hot mikveh on Shabbat because of this reason.
Are you allowed?
They hold that it's not allowed.
So no swimming. No swimming on
How do you?
Shabbat.
Because I've gone into a hot mikvah before Shabbat.
The truth is, right, that Moraino Rabbeinu Rabbi Shalom, Maran, he has a tshuva on this in Tarat HaBayit, his book Tarat HaBayit, Chelek Gimel, 3rd volume. Over there, he writes a long essay about this also. His conclusion is that you can go to a cold mikveh, but not into a hot one.
Not allowed.
So if they cooled it down, you can go in. But if it's still hot on Shabbat, so then it's a problem. By the way, maybe if you go in the morning, it already could cool down already, because they keep it hot at night for the ladies. Because they go on Shabbat also. At night they go, right? If that's that night to go, they go also on Shabbat. So what happens is that by the time the ladies got out, actually you have been to a mikveh. You have. You know when? Did you ever go to the beach? That's also mikveh.
To the beach, only to the nude beach.
Did you go to the ocean?
That's what I'm saying, swimming. You want to swim? No.
Ocean?
I don't.
Labor. Is that a labor?
Have you ever been?
That's rabbinically a problem.
It's exercise, right?
You've been
Yeah.
in the mikveh.
Can I go into the ocean mikvah if you have underwear on?
I'm sorry, what's the question?
Can I have underwear on?
You see what it's saying?
Well, then you're gonna watch out for the police.
I just told you I went to the nude one.
So Nisim, when we're gonna do our first conversion over here, I'm gonna teach you over there halacha regarding this what you were saying, right? What am I saying? That the truth is that a woman who went into the mikveh, right, We're talking about a woman that's, for her, it's like very crucial to go into the mikveh. It's like do or die, you know. It's like that's very crucial, because otherwise the children come out to be like, you know, deformed or whatever, deranged or whatever. I'm exaggerating a little bit, right? So, but there's some truth to that, right? You know that. So the point is that you know, I'm saying like, you know, I'm exaggerated words, but they're damaged. They're damaged.
You're bringing up things that I did wrong. I know. Yeah.
That's why the kids leave the house out the window.
So,
I'm only kidding.
so Rabbi, regarding what he's asking about Nisim, the answer is like this, right? That the Shulchan Aruch says that as long as the clothing is not too tight, it is allowed to go in to the mikveh with clothing. Even though the custom is not like that, but, you know, because people, you know, it's not really so logical, whatever. But the truth is that if a person went into a mikveh and he was wearing something which is relatively loose, that water can get in there, it's okay, it's fine. And that's what we're going to do, right, regarding our situation. Why? Because the truth is, right, when they convert people now to Judaism, when they do conversions, the way it's done nowadays, the common practice is like this, right, that what? Sometimes you have a lady who wants to convert, right? So now, the judges, there has to be 3 judges there, right? Bet din. We need 3 judges. So what happens is that they have to watch her going in. You know, they have to observe that. They have to witness that. So that means what? You have to see her naked? How does that work, right? So we don't want to watch her naked, right? You know, we're not allowed to do that. So therefore, what's the solution? So there's a couple of solutions, right? The classic solution is like this. But what happens is that there's a mikveh lady that are helping her, whatever. So he tells her, like, you know what? Go into the mikveh now. Go in. Just your head above the mikveh, right? And then once you're in, they cannot see you anymore. So therefore, now the judges will come and watch you, and just go dunk your head in, and you're okay. That's the way. Yeah.
Sounds like something else, Rabbi.
Well, that's good.
We got it from them.
Understand? They got it from us. They stole it from us.
Exactly.
That's what I was waiting
It's
for.
the Bible.
It's a cheap imitation.
Rabbi,
It's not the real thing.
Rabbi, you can see through the water.
I'm sorry?
You can see.
Not so well. Because you're watching from the side. Yeah, it's blurry, exactly. So we're not so concerned about that. We're not concerned about that. You know, because it's very blurry, whatever. So, therefore what? That's a classic way that was done. That the judges would wait until she got her up to her head, and then, right, they would, exactly, she would dunk in. That's it, right.
Why do we need judges?
Because you need, to convert, you need 3 judges. It has to be a bet din, it has to be a court. You cannot convert with 1 person. That's the way it is, right? So what I'm telling you is like this, right? This was a classic way. But now, they found, by the way, you know, they got a brainstorm over here, the rabbis. The new fad now, right, regarding this is a different way.
It's not a baptism.
God forbid, God forbid.
We're just kidding.
He doesn't like to talk about that.
Okay, so Rabbi Tai,
They got it from us. So they do it.
so Rabbi Tai, what I'm telling you is like this, right? Now they have a new way, new method. What's the new method? It's much more safe and more sterile. It's more sterile method, right?
At first,
Okay, so no, the new method is very simple, guys. It's like this, right? What happens is like this. It's related to your question. That's why I'm talking about it. Because what happens is that we put on her a loose robe, which is not tight at all, you know? Robes are usually very loose. That's the way they are, right? You know that, right? So there's a room for the water to get in everywhere. All the nooks and crannies will be filled up, no question. So what happens is like that, she puts on a robe, and she goes into the mikveh with a robe.
okay.
That's it. So this is right, and she can dunk in like that also, but sometimes they tell her to take it off, you know, once she's inside, take it off, whatever, but it's not really necessary. As long as the robe is, you know, like any other robe, it's usually loose. So therefore, even though she's fully dressed with a robe, but she can go into mikveh like that, she can convert. You know, so this is the solution to that problem. So the truth is, right, that if a person went to the mikveh and he was wearing just a bathing suit, usually they're not so tight, these bathing suits. The water gets in there. So therefore, it's considered to be like going to mikveh also, you know? Two killers with 1 stone.
Rabbi, question. Mikvah, it has to be a specific size, doesn't it?
Okay, this is a very good question, right? So, the size for the mikveh, yeah, the size for the mikveh, the ocean is a million times over, right? So we have nothing can be better than that, right?
But that's considered to be a mikvah.
That for sure. Even a lake, by the way, even a lake is considered to be a mikveh. You know, a lake also.
Any body of water.
So Rabbi Tai, what I tell you is like this: that it has to be 40 se'ah, right? Se'ah is a Hebrew measure, right? That's a minimum size. How big is this measure? This measure has to be, it's enough minimum that it can get the whole body. The whole body can be immersed in the water, even by lying down, let's say, right? Even like vertically, whatever. horizontally, whatever it is, any way possible. If it's not, that's for, how many liters is that? It's 1,200 liters of water. That's how we. So if you have 1,200 liters, you're okay. Right? That's minimum. If it's more than that, kosher, very nice, right? With all due respect, right? But the truth is that water that we go into now, over here in our mikvahs, that's not the real mikvah. The real mikvah is on the side somewhere, which was gathering rainwater. It's like a big tub, gathers rainwater over there. We cannot go in there because the water is too filthy and smelly and disgusting, right? Nobody will want to go in there. Believe me, if that was a mikvah, you wouldn't get one lady coming here. Nobody would come, right? Forget about it. So what do? We take a tube, right? We attach that water to the water in the jacuzzi that we're going into, that little jacuzzi, right? That we heat up, luxurious, nice, whatever. So since they're attached, these two things with the tube, it's considered to be the same body of water. That's how we do it.
Water doesn't mix with the water pressure.
They don't have to mix as long as there's a connection. That's good enough. That's all you need. That's how we do it. That's our modern mikvah. That's the way it works. Because if they had to go into that thing, they would be strangled. They would choke by going in there. Smell would kill them. You understand? It's like rainwater that's been sitting there for 8 months. Who would want to go and sit there like that? Crazy, right?
Get a ticket for gathering the water.
Okay, Rabbi. So the bottom line is like this, right? When it comes to, as we said, the bottom line is that when it comes to taking a hot shower, if you're a mitzvah, if you have suffering, what about it?
Is that also considered water for mikvah?
Once you move it to a different location, it's not a mikvah anymore. It has to be. It cannot be moved, artificially, right? If once you move it, that's why the way you cannot. That's the reason why you cannot use tap water for mikvah. You cannot use tap water. You know why? Because that water is being moved. It's being drawn from one place and taken to another place. Once you move the water like that, draw it from one, it's already not kosher anymore. And this is the reason why you need rainwater to come in from the roof and just naturally goes down in there and collects. That's the way it has to be.
How is it not?
Sorry?
How is it not kosher?
Because the halakha says once the water has been drawn, the rabbis made a gzera, and you cannot use that water anymore. Yeah.
Because the rainwater falls in that location, it collects there?
Right, collects there. Nobody's moving it to any different location. Once you draw it to a different location, it's not kosher anymore.
How far?
I'm sorry?
How far can you not draw?
At all. Zero.
But you said you could put the
Rabbi,
tube together.
drawn from the roof to the basement.
That's just gravity. It's not drawing. You understand? Drawing means you draw it like with a pump, like whatever. Right? Yeah. You're pushing it.
Fill up the tub.
Yeah. If it goes naturally, that's not your problem. We're talking about drawing it with human intervention. Understand? That's what we're talking about. So therefore, this is the reason why the mikvah is kosher. So about that, bottom line is like this, right? As we said, not recommended to go to hot mikvah on Shabbat because most of the poskim don't allow that. So if you want to go to mikvah on Shabbat, go to a cold mikvah. God bless you. Well, that's also good. You know why why is it, by the way, they want to go on Shabbat? You know why? What's the reason why?
To be extra special?
You know why? What's the reason? You guys know? Hello?
No.
You guys hear me? Hear the question? Do you see? You hear the question? Why is it people want to go to the mikvah on Shabbat? What's the reason for that?
It's higher spirituality. It cleans you.
You know what? You know what the real reason is? You want to know? You want to know what the real reason is?
Right.
Because it's a mitzvah to be with your wife on Shabbat. You understand? So once you now the sperm came out of your body, the semen, you're tameh. So now you want to go pray like that on Shabbat in the morning? Tameh? You have to first become tahor. You have to become purified. So that's the reason why they go. That's very good, Jimmy. But these people yeah, exactly, whatever. Right? The truth is, you're right. Taking a shower also helps you. It's true. But these guys, first of all, they don't know this halakha. They don't want. And also, they don't, even if they knew, I don't know if they've listened to it or whatever. But the point is, Rabbi,
I'm sorry.
Oh, he doesn't know about that. No. So, I'm sorry? If you pour 12 liters of water with a shower, it's considered to be like you went to mikvah, according to many poskim. So that's halakha, by the way. So if a person doesn't have time to go to mikvah, like a guy like me, right? I don't have time to go to mikvah. I'm studying Torah, I don't want to lose an hour to go to mikvah for what? What do I need it for? So what I do is like almost the poskim say, right? If you take a shower, 12 liters of water, you're considered like you're pure. This is the way to do it. So this is why people want to go on Shabbat.
You have to wait till nightfall.
I'm sorry?
You have to wait till nightfall.
You know what?
Moonrise.
Let me tell you something. That the way it works is like this. When nightfall comes, you become tahor, you become pure. But the mikvah itself doesn't have to be on nightfall. You understand? In other words, if you did the mikvah before, when the night comes, you'll become tahor. You need also the night, you're right. But that's automatic.
So even if you don't hit the mikvah, you become tahor at night?
I'm sorry?
Even if you didn't hit the mikvah, you become purified at night?
No, you have to go to the mikvah, but you can also go a little bit earlier, no problem.
So after the mikvah, are you pure?
You need also the night.
Okay, so what if you don't do the mikvah and only have the night?
That doesn't help you.
It passes off to the next day.
it doesn't help you. You need two things. You need mikveh and you need the night. But since you did the mikveh before, and then the night came by itself, that's it, you're done. You understand? So, but the truth is that usually what we do is like this, that when a person lives with his wife, has relations with his wife, he doesn't take a shower at night. He wants to go to sleep now, he's tired, So what does he do in the morning? That's the most like normal scenario, So in a case like that, 100%, no problem, no issues.
You said that you pour 12 liters of water.
Of water on your right,
So
yes.
fill up the bathtub, jump in the bath.
That's also good.
Rabbi.
That's also good. But people don't have time for baths anymore, People are in a hurry, how everybody's rushed, whatever.
It's good.
Yeah, it's good, yeah, it's fine, yeah.
Is there such thing as marital rape in the Torah?
Sure.
There is.
You're not allowed to rape your wife if you're married to her. Not allowed to rape her. What does that mean? If you force her, if you force your wife to have relations, they say, by the way, that child, if comes out a child from that, will come out to also be deformed. I'm not talking about deformed physically. I'm talking about spiritually deformed. So this will make the child a bad boy. He's a bad boy, trouble boy.
If your wife says no.
Yeah. No means no.
Oh, well, they play
I think civil law says
Yes.
that she must perform for you.
I'm sorry?
Civil law says that she must perform for you.
I don't know.
You don't go to jail for that.
I don't know. This guy asked a lawyer for that one. But,
Rabbi.
Sometimes
Sometimes they say no, but they really mean yes.
Let's say she says no tomorrow, the next day, and
you got a girlfriend.
So then you gotta make an appointment with the rabbi because you got a problem there. You know what I'm saying? You gotta make an appointment with the rabbi, and sit down and discuss what's going on. Why this is happening. There's usually an issue. There's a problem there. You know what I mean?
Right.
So they have to get to the root of the problem. What's going on? Maybe she's mad at you. Maybe she, whatever. There's all kinds of issues there. Whatever. So they have to get to the root of the problem.
To the bottom of
Some people can do this on their own, by the way. They don't need a rabbi. They just talk it out with their wife. They know how with the wife. They have a good interaction with their wife. If he's a smart guy, he'll do it by himself. If he's not so successful, go to a rabbi. Let the rabbi handle it. Whatever.
Rabbi,
Rabbi, I have a question.
so the Torah gives. Let me just finish.
Takes care of his wife.
So the Torah gives. So the Torah gives the wife the right to say no.
Absolutely. Nobody can be forced to have intercourse or to marry somebody. Also, you cannot force anybody to marry you. Everything has to be done with consent.
You're not asking a stranger to have intercourse with you.
Right, I understand, but maybe she's not in the mood. You're forcing her.
I
Yeah.
have two questions. Number one, are you allowed to dominate your wife?
Oh, wait a second. You see this question?
That's a Bukhari.
You know what I say? You know what I say about
Handcuffs, Rabbi.
You know what I say about this question? You know what I say about your question? It's a trick question. Why is it a trick question? You know why? Because he's asking me, are you allowed to dominate your wife? So I ask you a different question before that. Before that question, right? Are you required? Are you obligated to dominate your wife? That's the question, right? So the question, what does it say in the Bereshit? It says, right, that the man will rule over the woman. So what does that mean? It's a decree that the man has to be the boss.
Give it a definition.
You know what I mean? It's a decree. It's a decree.
And yet you.
There's a
So
discrepancy.
you're obligated to dominate your wife.
There's a discrepancy.
No,
I'm sorry.
and yet
Discrepancy.
you're not allowed to force sex.
So how do we reconcile these two things?
What kind of a domination is that?
Very good question. Very good question.
Get over here.
So the answer is Rabotai, that that's by the way, you learn from here. You learn from here what it means to be a leader. Being a leader doesn't mean you force anybody. It means you convince them nice, sweet. Being a leader means, that's also true. Yeah.
You have to know how to talk.
A person who wants to rule over the world, he cannot be a tyrant like Hitler or.
You're like him.
How do you want to rule over your wife? You want to be a Stalin and Hitler, or you want to be like a nice leader,
Sneaky way with her. You don't make comments.
So the point is, right, that the husband is supposed to be the boss, but any boss has to know.
How to be a boss.
Right, exactly. What does that mean? Gentle, nice, sweet.
By the way,
that's the way to do it.
That's how our president is at home.
God bless.
He's a pussycat at home.
Okay.
I think
So,
he beats us. Are you allowed to slap the woman?
So, Rabotai,
Yes.
this is a good question. So regarding domination, the truth is that a person should be the boss in the house, but it has to be done very, very pleasant, very nice, very sweet. Never any hostility, never any coercion. No, we don't want that. No, that's not the way to be a boss. Because if you try to be a boss like that, your wife will rebel against you. You know, it automatically won't work. That's the whole thing, right?
No matter of anger, but
Yeah.
in matter of pleasure to slap, and she's okay with it.
If she likes it, that's fine. You know, as long as they consent, they both consent to it. It's a game. You know, it's a game. It's a play. Just like you play with your friend in the playground. You know, same thing over there. So what difference does it make?
You're actually answering this question. To slap a wife because she may like it?
If you like it, you like it. What can you do? Man? You know what the Torah says about
No,
that?
I'm not against it.
Yeah.
But the woman like that.
No, I'm not. Listen, a lot of men like it. You want to play these games, but why would you even inject this into the Torah?
I want to tell you a general rule, David. You know, we'll end it here. Jimmy has to go. But we'll end it here. But I'll tell you, know what the Torah says? A very big principle. The big principle is like this: Retzono shel adam hu kevodo. You know what that means? The will of the person, that's his honor. When you do his will, you're honoring him. You understand? So if that's what he wants, as long as you're not injuring the person, you cannot draw blood. You know, I'm not talking about that. You know? You're not allowed to injure the person. Even if he wants that, you're not allowed to do it. That's something else. But just to play, that's something else.
Why would anybody want to like to be slapped?
We're gonna have to discuss that, David. This is a big discussion.
No, I'm not against it.
God bless you guys. Thanks for coming. All the best.